something a little bit different today. I'm going to introduce you to my 1966 88-inch project and run through a little bit of the history on it, how long I've had it, etc., and sort of what the story is with it. Basically, about 10 years ago, the Series 2 forum, I think it was at the time, someone posted up they bought a capstan winch off an ex-Southern Electric Land Rover. Obviously my 1-ton being a Southern Electric, interesting, I wonder what that is. It turned out to be an 88-inch, and it was parked up in a barn, and the chap was looking to sell it on, and basically we ended up doing a deal for it. So it was about 10 years ago, it was about 2010, and it was pretty rotten. Bulkhead was pretty bad, chassis not great, pretty would have repaired. Ended up getting a new chassis for it, which is what we've got here. I've slowly been rebuilding it. It's only been over the past, this has only been back down here about a year or so. It's been in storage, and friends have done little bits and bobs on it, but it's now in a position I can kind of make a bit of progress with it. And it's a 1966 2.25 petrol with a Solex carb. Quite an interesting spec. It was built on 750/16 tyres. Appears to have had a fully trimmed cab. It looks to have had a split rear door. It came to me with a station wagon type door on, which I don't think is original. So I'll put it back to a split door. Would have been elephant hide trim. It was pretty complete, but there's a lot of rot in it, so a lot of stuff's going to have to be replaced. But I'm trying to keep it pretty standard. You know, no sort of mods. It's not getting parabolics, it's not getting a TDI, you know, anything like that. Managed to get a replacement winch of the same type. Interesting thing is the winch was a type that was introduced, I think, in about 1971, 72, something like that. So wouldn't have been original to the vehicle. Whether it had a winch from the start, I don't know. This certainly had a ladder rack. You can see the tabs on the body where the ladder rack would have sat on the tub cappings, and you poke out the little slots in the hardtop sides. They'd had windows put in. I've got the original roof as well in the garden, but that's had alpine lights in it and skylights and things, so unfortunately not usable. But I've got replacement panels. But other than that, it's pretty straight-ish, you know, for the age. It was last on the road, I think, in the mid-1990s. The guy who I bought it off, he had donated it to, what in his words, it was helping young retrobates train to be mechanics. So there were some sort of repairs to it, and oddly they were like new parts. Like it had a brand new exhaust on it, but then like the bulkhead was literally repaired with like bits of biscuit tin. The seat box, the toolboxes rotted out. It was on a mismatch of wheels. So it was okay. You know, there were bits I needed to sort out on it. And spec-wise, it was built in a special order green. What they described as, I think the build book calls it Bedona green. I think that's the name, which is, I'll get a piece. No, everything's bolted. It's all bolted down. But yeah, it's not bronze green. It's a weird, like a sort of emerald green. So it's a different colour, which I'll have to get paint matched for that, I think. And then, but I don't think it would have worked in that colour. It was definitely painted light green. When it came to me, it was like brown, which was an overspray of bronze green that had faded, which a lot of people know bronze green tends to do that. So the plan would be put it back to the light green with the white, well, the sort of magnolia white backing with the black and orange Southern Electricity text, which I think is how it would have run, certainly for the bulk of its life. I mean, the SEB had it from 1966 to 76, so they ran it for 10 years. So I think looking at the original roof, the roof was certainly green, the side panels I think were green, so the whole thing, it would have been green, sign writing on the doors. A lot of the photos I've got for vehicles of this era, the wheels were black, so I'll do that, just a little bit of a contrast. And I mean, I don't really have like a time frame or anything for this. It's just progress with it when I can and as I can afford, perennial problem. But hopefully have it at least running and driving within the next couple of years. That would be the plan. And it's obviously just going to be a bit more usable than a 1 ton. So it's a 4-cylinder engine, it's a bit more economical, it should be a bit faster, it should be, you know, a bit of a nicer place to spend the day, especially if I get the cab trim parts, so it should make it quite comfortable. But I've got a few boxes of bits that have turned up, which I'm going to fit on now, mainly for the suspension and just little fittings. Obviously at the minute I'm working on a rolling chassis. After that, once that's done, sort the bulkhead out. A friend of mine up north, he's setting up making bulkhead parts, so I'll get the details for him actually and give a link, because he's doing some really nice work. And then pal of mine who he's going to come and weld the bulkhead, and then we should be away really. It's kind of strange. It's like all the nuts and bolts and fittings and connectors and things of what's missing, and things gone missing over the years. It's been in storage in bits, and you know, we've all that sort of thing going on, and it's just yeah, like all this is suspension fittings, nuts and bolts really. But I'm hoping within the next couple of months, once lockdown's over. My mate has got the original inlet manifold. This is a replacement one that's on it. This one I bought because the original one of the studs through to the exhaust manifold is just seized inside. But he's got the carb fitting, so I'll get the carb fittings off, get the carb on, and then wire up some electrics, and fingers crossed it'll run. I mean, I had this running sort of 10 years ago, so I know it's not seized or anything. It's just been sat, but it's been undercover for the most part. Yeah, fingers crossed it'll go relatively smoothly. Famous last words. But it'll just be nice to get another old Land-Rover back on the road. Yeah, and this will be the first episode of several, I'm hoping, but they're not going to be regular. I'm not going to be doing a weekly update, or it's not going to be that quick. But there's going to be little bits. I mean, I've had all the shock absorbers off. They're all new. When they come black, original from the factory, they were like a pale blue, so I've repainted them. So they're going to go on today. And I will at the end of this, I'll do a little update just to go through the stuff that's been done, just to show a little bit of progress, but it's not going to be leaps and bounds, unfortunately. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see more of this coming forward. But for now, I'll catch you in a bit. So just a bit more progress. Shockers are on. Front and rear, I don't know, you can see them back there. Obviously loads more to do. Let's have a look at this bulkhead.
it's pretty religious. You can see it, some like piece of, I don't know what that is. It's like a piece of steel bar was used. So that'll have to all come off. I'll have new pillars. Driver's side footwell's been took out anyway. But yeah, I'll get there eventually. I forgot to mention before, within the history, this is the weird green. You can see it's not deep bronze green, it's something else. Let me look at this. Original seat belts, original heater. I've got some other bits to go on there to complete it. Original dash clocks, as you can see with this dash, because it's a 1408. This number just there shows us it's for 750s. We've also got this max permissible something. I'd love to know what the rest of that would have said. So it's an original hand painted sign writing. But yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, sorry, I was thinking about the history. So yeah, in 1976, apparently it went to Dunsfold in Surrey and was converted to a sort of station wagon. So they put, I guess they put the windows in it and the back door and so forth. And then it was bought by a chap who was quite an interesting guy. He'd been a sort of rally driver and adventurer type. I'm not quite sure what he did with this Land Rover. Probably went all over the world in it, for all I know. But yeah, it had been parked up a long time and he sold it all. So here we are, sort of trying to progress it. But yeah, we'll crack on. I'll make more updates as and when there's anything to say, really. So yeah, cheers for now.